Alright, so I'm going to add the new Flame Control fire styles to the library for everybody to play with because people are asking. So I showed this last night. So these are new fully responsive flames. So a few things about them. These are a little different because of the parameters they're controlling. So for these flames, when facing up, your flame will be at its fastest. And then as you move down, that speed of the flame will actually slow. And as you get towards below horizontal, it slows and it actually shrinks the size of the flame until you're pointing straight down. So that'll be the smallest version of your flame. And it's using the fully responsive, so it's using BladeAngle for this one. So it responds to that angle at every change in real time. So any change to that angle of that blade below horizontal will shrink or enlarge that flame. And then as you come back up, you're also increasing the speed of the flame. So that'll be your fastest flame. So now what I had to do to make this available, everybody, is there's also now parameters that control all the other effects. So blast and clash, lockup, drag has been turned into a base flare, just because everything that's going on with this blade, particularly when it gets to the shrinking, trying to keep that tip is almost impossible. I'm sure eventually we can find a way, but just for trying to get this out. So there's drag and stab are off on these. Melt will work because melt needs you to be horizontal and that flame is staying that way. So you will have melt. And then you'll also have blast, and that blast, you'll have clash. So in order for these to work, I had to change the blast though, so it doesn't have, you can't use the blast wave for this one because again, when that blade starts to shrink, I wanted blast to stay in that realm. So this way your blast and your clash will only happen in that small blade. So there's in order to get this functionality, we had to kind of give up a little bit. So some of your effects, other than the flame itself, are going to be a little different. And then this has responsive lockup. So you get the responsive lockup, it works normally. And then what happens is, if you happen to have a lockup upside down, it does constrict itself, but the movement's reduced. So it'll stay within that blade. And the transitions all work, so that's all set up. And then lightning block is a little different. Lightning block, because of the randomization, was going to be tricky anyway. So for this one, the BladeAngle one, it does have lightning block only when you're above horizontal. If you go below horizontal, it was just going to be, it didn't look like lightning anymore because I had to compress it so much. It looked like lockup, so there's really no need for it. So if you do want lightning block, it'll be while your blade is upright. But what will happen is, if I get down below, it cuts itself off. As soon as the blade starts to shrink, it has to cut off. It's a little jerky. Maybe I'll get some cleanup time with it. But the lightning block, the animation on that lightning block is just already crazy. Trying to add additional controls on it was going to be too much. So I gave lightning block to this one, but only when you're above horizontal. And then, so everything's working here. But as I said, drag will actually turn into an emitter flare, just because I had to flip it, because again, that tip, when I shrink that blade, is just too difficult. So you will see some changes to some of the effects, but now that flame is available. And this does have color change. So the first version I'm putting on the library is only red. I usually like to test every color, but I kind of did this real quick this morning because I know everybody wanted it. So it doesn't have other colors yet, but you do have the regular color change. So just by turning your, go into color change into ColorWheel, you can turn your hilt and go through all the different colors. So if you do want different colors right now, you are able to just go in and play around with that. Go to like an orange. And then again, it keeps all the same functionality. So that's going to be, this is the BladeAngle version. And then I do have the twist version. The twist version has a little bit more limitation on it. So this is the twist version. So with the twist version, it works pretty similarly. So when it's pointing straight upright, it's going to be your fastest flame. As you move down, it will shrink the flame. But on this one, even when you're upright, if you turn your hilt, you can also shrink that flame, almost as if you were dialing it. So hopefully that's showing on camera. And this one uses a full 360 turn. So once you get back around, it'll start coming back up. You can reduce the flame. And then this one has the limits on blast and clash. So really tiny flame doesn't give me a lot of area, but it's holding in. And then lockup. So obviously you're going to be really limited. Now if I put that flame all the way up, I'll get better blast and clash. So getting that all working. And then this one, the localized lockup also will react. If I start to shrink my blade section, oops, I let go. It'll stay within there. So it's got the limitations on it based on the twisting. I had to take lightning block off of this one, and I had to take melt off of this one, and that's because of the twist. Adding that control, I had to take something away. It's just it was too difficult with all that was going on, and because particularly melt, because the tip isn't going to stay in line anymore. Melt is not on this. So the twist version has even more limits on the effects, but if you're using this, you're using it more for what the flame can do. If you really wanted all the effects, maybe eventually we'll get to that code. But so this is the twist version, so it works similarly to the other one, but even when you're down, you can actually still control that even further, so you can really get that shrunk for the flame just by twisting. And then when you bring it upright, same thing, you can actually control that flame size just by turning that hilt. You can dial it really low. So it's just this is using all of the responsive controls just to get all these kind of little nuanced things. And again, because it's dealing real time both with the turning of your hilt and the angle of your blade, it's a very smooth transition in and out of everything. So all of your shrinking of your flame, it's not going to be jumpy or jerky. It's really smooth. You could go quick, and it responds to it immediately. You can go slow and steady. So, but this is just kind of a cool effect using responsive controls. So I put there'll be the two red versions. Oh, this one also does the color change. So you can go just rotate now. Because rotating your hilt is going to shrink that flame, as you're changing color, that flame is going to shrink. But once you lock in, you can go back and extend that flame. So I can't unpair the twist control for ColorWheel from the twist control for the flame size in this one. So if you go into color change mode, you're shrinking the flame momentarily while you're changing colors, but then you go back to having full control over it. So this is up on the library. As I said, there's only the two versions. They start in default red. Over time I'll get the other colors built. And right now they're just main blade. I have to think out how I want to do the crossguard, because the crossguard being so small, I don't think it'll lend itself to this, so that's still in the works. Crystal chamber is going to be kind of simple because it wouldn't do anything. But main blades, if you want to play with them, you're going to need OS4, so pull down from the latest GitHub. But I know some of you guys have been asking me to, get a turn with these, so I've got them, two versions working for you. You can go play with them and enjoy. So a lot more to come. And this is only one little piece of OS4 that everybody's pretty psyched about. There's just so much that I can't wait for this to get out. So more to come.